Yate, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. So grateful for this evening. We've been really looking forward to this. I would like to just very quickly do a respectful acknowledgement of the lands we are on here, Ogapoge Owingeh, also known as Santa Fe, and all the surrounding beautiful, amazing pueblos we're around. Altogether, there's 19 pueblos we are around. Thank you all for having us on your lands, and those of you beaming in from your lands, acknowledgement as caretakers of your lands as well. Tonight we have a special event coming up. And our beautiful brother, Ernie Tsosie III, is here with us this evening to talk about his life, his experience in comedy, his experience in acting, maybe a little bit of his life before that. And he's well loved by all of us. We are so proud of Ernie. We feel like he's one of ours, He's one of ours, It's pure Navajo, Ernie. Ernie's beloved. He's a comedy, he's an actor, he's a storyteller, he's got sharp wit, he has heartfelt humor, he makes audiences laugh and reflect for decades. He's been on stage, live theater. That's a whole different ball game. Screen. That's a whole different ball game. We'll talk about that. And he also has cultural wisdom too. He might even have a little bit of information about indigenous anthropology or something like that. So we'll talk about that as well. Ernie keeps us laughing. We have a traumatic history, trauma, post-generational, and Navajo people are known for laughing in the harshest of times. And Ernie is the epitome of all of that. So who knows? We might have a chuckle while we're at it. Thank you, brother, for being here tonight. Let's get this started. How did you get? Tell us a little bit about your life.
Okay. Yeah, Ernie. My entire name is Ernest David Tsosie III. I say that's my IHS name. That's the name I was assigned. But I was born in Fort Defiance, Arizona, at the old hospital, which is now just an empty field. They tore down that historic hospital, and I feel like if I was a time traveler, my window has closed. I'm stuck here forever. um, but that's part of my yeah. I grew up. My mom was an educator, so I was like a res dog. I moved all over the res from Fort Defiance. I moved to many farms back in the mid '70s. They were building Diné College then, which was Navajo Community College (NCC) when I was growing up there, and so we moved there. My mom was a home economics instructor, and my dad was also construction working on the college as well. So I kind of spent my whole childhood in Saley, and then full circle came back high school years to Winter Rock. I attended Winter Rock High School, and then ended up graduating from Gallup. So I'm all mixed, man, like a res dog.
Wow, that is amazing. Are you serious? That's like a lot of movement.
Yeah,
But I've got a special place in my heart for this Saile, Tsaile. It sounds like Saile, but Saile,
yeah,
Sehale, is that, I think that's how you say it.
yeah.
Maybe not. I have to ask my mom. But cool. So as you're talking about all those years on the reservation, what was your favorite school, and what was your favorite year in high school, if you can even think about that at all? Like, did you have a one year where you just went, man, that was the best year?
Man, that's a it's a tough question for me because I feel like I grew up as an introvert. I grew up with social anxiety personally, especially like in high school, junior high, high school years. So I kind of struggled socially in school. That's kind of what I remember. But when I talk to people, like for example, Tosh and other folks that I used to go to school with in elementary, they always tell me that yeah, you're always funny. But in my mind, I don't have that memory of being funny or a class clown, if you will. To me, I was introverted, quiet, and shy. So I kind of wonder if they're mistaking me for somebody else. What do they call that? Imposter syndrome, right?
Oh,
Sometimes I think I
yeah.
have that because I feel like I got funny later on in life when I became an adult. But to answer your question, I think my favorite um, time in school year was my sophomore year, Winter High School, because that was the year that I realized through a teacher that I was indeed smart. It was my algebra teacher. His name was Mr. Watson, Winter High School. He saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And what it was like all of us, I was really into a lot of my subjects, algebra in particular being, I thought I was really good at it. But I guess you don't know sometimes that the teacher, he'll see the talent in the student that they don't see in themselves. And I was in that class for, I don't know, maybe most of the whole year there before one day after class, he asked me if I could stay behind. I thought I was in trouble because, I was pretty naughty back then, man. I was a stoner, a pothead, and hung out with all those kind of guys, headbangers and whatnot. So I was thinking, dang, man, I might be in trouble for something. I don't know what. But the reason why he held me back, he wanted to talk to me in private, and he goes, you're pretty good in algebra. He goes, I want you to, if you want to, I want you to sign up for this mathematics competition. It was a high school competition statewide, right, in algebra. And I was like, I was like, you got the wrong guy, man. In my mind, so I was thinking, I didn't say anything, but I was so like, I was taken aback. I didn't know what to do with, and of course, you want to please your teachers, right? So I was like, okay, all right, I'll do it. I'll try it. So it's like a test, right? Where you I had to show up there on a Saturday, and it took most of the whole day. It's kind of like taking your exams. How you have to, it's like you just fill in the little circles with a pencil. So I did that one Saturday and took a math exam, basically algebra, and that was it. And about, I don't know, 2 weeks later, he held me back again from class, and it turns out, man, I won a statewide algebra, a math exam. My score was in the,
Wow.
I know how my score was in the top 10% of the state of Arizona in high school math. And I got an award, man. And
That's
I ended up in this book called Who's Who in America. And I still have it to this day. And it's nationwide, there's all kind of kids from all over the world, or all over America, different races, backgrounds, and you look at my name, man, you'll see my little brown face right there. It's black and white, but I'm all cheesed out.
wow.
So see,
Damn.
I didn't realize that I had that capability of being a smart, smart student. So Mr. Watson, he's the one that really lit that fire. Say, okay, okay, gave me a lot of confidence. And I always appreciated that from him. And to check
Do
this
you
out, go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
do you feel that was a turning point for you, like where maybe you might have had that social anxiety and disbelief in self and feeling a little bit marginalized and excluded and
Yeah,
rejected and not fitting? And then when you got that, you went, hey,
yeah. It
hey.
it was a watershed moment, as they say. It was a turning point, man. After that, I started looking at myself in a different way, and gave me confidence, academically. And check this out. So years later, right? I'm talking. This was in the '80s, mid '80s. So shoot ahead, almost 20 years later. I'm working with James, and I'm doing a show somewhere here around here in Winter Rock. And I brought that up. I talked about Mr. Watson. I was trying to encourage people in the crowd, like, hey man, yeah, all of us we got talent. Sometimes we don't know what it is, but there's talent in all of us. So I told that story about Mr. Watson, and here Mr. Watson was in the crowd, man. And yeah, I freaked out. And there's like a little bit of a in the audience, there was some noise, some voices, and I was like, I stopped, and someone was like, "Yeah, Mr. Watson is here," and man, he was there, man. I hadn't seen that guy in 20 years or something. He was still teaching, and that day I got a chance to tell him, "Hey, man, thank you as an adult. Thank you for believing in me and seeing that in me because I didn't see it myself, man. It changed me. And I almost got all emotional, man. I kind of get chills thinking about it. And man, he was so grateful too and happy that I remembered that. So as a teacher, from a teacher's point of view, I believe that the teachers, they're the other essential worker that through the whole pandemic thing.
Oh yeah.
They didn't get enough recognition, man. And so I was really happy to to acknowledge Mr. Watson as my algebra teacher, who saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. But really, I think he was actually all watery eyed. Both of us. It was a moment, man. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man,
So
that's
that was cool, man.
so.
Yeah,
So tell us about how you got. Well, I have so many questions for you. There's no way we can get through it tonight. But how, like, what were you doing before you got into acting? Obviously, you were a family man and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
what were you doing? And then, yeah, what made that switch? Because obviously, it's not an easy thing to do if you're
yeah.
raising a family.
Well, wait, okay. This is kind of what happened. So after I graduated high school, I was kind of like many of us, especially natives, you kind of don't know. Well, now I think these kids now they got it down, man. They know what they want to do. Most of them, they have already a career in mind. But back in the '80s, man, I was all over the place. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do as a career. So I just went to college, and first thing I did was I went to follow my dad's footsteps, and out of high school I signed up for a technical for vocational institute in Albuquerque. Back then it was TVI, Albuquerque Technical Vocational Institute. Now it's CNM. But I studied carpentry, and I became a carpenter. So I got certified in carpentry. I thought that I was going to do that, and I did do that for about 3 years in my 20s, early 20s. And man, that's hard work. And I was like, dang, no, I was building houses down in Tucson, and I was like, dang, this is hard work, man. I don't see myself doing this for a career, 20 years or whatever. So I got to come up with a new plan. So I went back to college, just to kind of see what there was, and I got in. One summer, I worked for the Navajo Nation Historic Preservation Department as an archaeologist. I was in the archaeological department, and so I went out and I was just helping out the real archaeologists. I was kind of like an assistant, to these archaeologists. But it exposed me to anthropology work, and it was something that I enjoyed, and go out, and search for artifacts or historic places. For example, we'd be doing what they call surveying. Maybe they're building a road, or there's gonna be some lumbering going on. Before they do that, archaeologists go in there and they survey the whole area that's going to be impacted, right? And we look for all the historic things there, sweat lodges, old hogans, even the Anasazi stuff, arrowheads, pottery, all that stuff. And it was cool, man. I was doing that on the weekends anyway, just hiking around my homeland. So it was something that I was already into. I didn't know it, and I was into archaeology, uh, and so I thought that was it. I thought it was my calling, man. So I went back to college and I studied. Anthropology was my major, and I studied Pima College in Tucson, but then also went to ASU for a short time and did some studying there. So that was my career path, was anthropology, and somewhere along the way, man, um, I got into the movies. I was always a fan of movies, watching, and but I never considered trying to be an actor. But I don't know what happened, man. But when I think back on it, I got bit by the acting bug, I think, and I didn't know it back when I was back to the '80s. I was a junior in high school, and we moved back to Winter Rock, right? My mom got a job in Washington D.C. for the BIA, so she moved over there, and she left me with my dad and here back in Winter Rock. And the summer we went to go visit her, so I spent a summer or 2 weeks in DC with my mom. And while I was there, I was touring, being a tourist and all that. And I came across a filming of a movie in the streets of DC. Hundreds, thousands of people, extras. It was a parade scene, and it was like Hollywood, man. They had this big old. The director was in the air on a crane, and all these actors and cut action, everything, the whole scene. And it was the first time I've seen a movie being made live. And I stayed there, man, for almost the whole day just watching. And I didn't know it too, but I was an extra. I thought I was just watching, but I was actually an extra in the movie. And I started seeing all these movie stars, man, on TV. Like at the time, Mr. T, right, from Rocky 3, Mohawk, he was there. He was the main star, and he had just done Rocky 3, so he was huge, right? He was a celebrity. But I started seeing like all these other 1970s TV stars. There was Barney Miller, people from Barney Miller show. There was Gary Busey was there. Academy Award nominee. I started recognizing these people. Jay Moore was a young comedian. He was nobody. He was there. Um, there's another Latino comic. He's still around to this day, but he was there. Young guys. But I started hung out, and when they're taking breaks, you could hang out and take pictures with these people. And I got some pictures with some of these stars. and and the person that was directing it was Christopher Nolan of all people. I didn't notice until recently. He's huge. He's a big time director now, but that was one of his first movies, I guess. So I got a taste of movie making, and when I was still in high school, and I didn't think nothing of it at the time, but I think that's where I really got kind of bit by the acting bug, so to speak, because I hung out there. It was fun. You got to see these stars, these celebrities, and take pictures with them, and see how they work behind the scenes. Um, so I think that's kind of how it happened. And then shoot ahead back to when I got out of when I was an adult and had a cousin of mine. We used to like love watching movies, man. Our favorite movie was Powell Highway, right, with Gary Farmer and Wes Studi's in there, Graham Greene, the late Graham Greene. And that's the first time I saw real Indians, man, in the movies. And I said, man, if they can be in the movies, I think I can do it too. So that was a seed right there too. And that's when I kind of made the choice to kind of delve into, see if it's possible to get into the movies as a native. And that's kind of how it started. But it also started back in high school when I was on set of that movie in Washington.
That's that's so wonderful. I'm so glad your mom got that job so you could
Same.
have that experience because, you know, my remembrance of acting on the reservation when me and you were just little tots, I
Yeah.
was second, you were third. We would do those Native American seasonal stuff where, I'd be the corn grinder and you'd be
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
the rattled boy with the headband playing a Che, playing a grandpa. We had our specific roles, and then that, whatever event, the parents would come and we would perform together. And hey, eight young, hey, eight young, we
Yeah.
would learn our songs. And so that was kind of theater. I mean, that was
Yeah.
our introduction to the stage. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
And check
but
and check this
that's,
out. Check this out though. Um, I actually one time just years later, man, I was watching. I was at home with some friends, and that movie was on DC Cab. That's what it's called, right? It was on Showtime or whatever, and it was over. It was toward the end of it, and I tell these guys, "Oh, dude, man, I was there." I was trying to convince my friends that I was there watching to make this movie. And they're like, "Yeah, right, whatever." They didn't believe me, and we're watching the credits, right? And it was the scene that I was in was the very end. It was a parade scene. That's why there was a bunch of people on the streets,
oh,
and there was hundreds, if not thousands, of people were there, and they were going through the crowd, and it was and they would pan to the audience, to the people there, the camera, and lo and behold, man, I saw myself, man, go by in the
wow.
credit roll of the movie. I'm standing there, man. I'm the only brown dude looking at. I'm looking directly into the camera, right? Which is you should never do. Everyone else is acting, right? The director's like, "Hey, man, you're in a parade, cheering these people on." I'm the only one I'm just looking at right into the camera as it goes by,
That's
and
funny.
and
How old
as
you were,
as a
like what, 14, 15?
yeah, yep, about 14, 15 years old. And I see myself now as a
Man.
performer. I'm like, do something. Don't just stand there.
So
And
how
I
do you
actually made it
get
into the shot.
so how do you get the funnies? How do you do a script? How do you write a script? How do you find it? Do you have to like walk through your day and just have that funny bone and then write it down and then develop it or play with it with
Yeah.
your partner? How do you do that? How do you find that humor and stuff? Where do you find humor? How can I
Um,
become a comedian, Ernie? Tell me.
humor now, while being a comedian now, there's techniques. You can actually learn to do stand-up comedy, whether you're good at it or not, it doesn't matter. But you can learn comedy. And there's techniques that there's the setup punch, where you set up the audience for just the old one-liners, like Rodney Dangerfield was a master at the one-liners, and that's all. As a comedian, people always today it happened today here in Winter Rock. I was buying some steamed corn left over from the fair, right? And the guy recognized me. He's hey, and he goes, "Tell me a joke." And I always get that everywhere I go. Tell me a joke. It's a one-liner. So I wrote some originals for that very reason. So I have to say this disclaimer first. If I make fun of you, that means I like you. Okay. So one of my bits that I wrote one-liner, I go, "What do you call a Native American kneeling down at the zoo?" They ponder and they're like, what do you call a Native American kneeling down at the zoo? And the punchline is a zuni. You know, it doesn't even make sense, but you know what I mean? It's funny for some reason. So
Yeah, and
that
I think a Zuni would laugh about that. These are
they do,
Zunis I
man.
know
They
would
they
crack
love it.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they know.
they would
So
be all
that
offended.
yeah. So and I said that joke today, and the people that were there, they all laughed, and they're all like, "Yeah, it's a good one." So the guy give me a free corn. So the dude threw some extra corn for me. But so I think it's observing. There's different techniques of you can do compare and contrast comedy. For example, being from the '80s, and I have kids that are young, they're teenagers, they're into today's technology, gaming, they're video gamers and all that. So remember when in St. Lee, right? There was no video games, man. We didn't have PlayStation, and
Man,
that's what I tell these kids, right?
Atari,
Yeah, that's it.
Atari.
And so I tell these kids, hey man, enjoy your technology. This is a comparison comedy bit. When I was your age, I had no PlayStation, right? I played at the gas station. That's it. You know what I mean? So you can compare things to find the humor in it. There's if you read like I had a whole bit on health and beauty aid products, just reading the back, like say if this was a shampoo bottle, and you start reading the taglines, you'll find humor in that. There's some of them, they're really poetic, use
Wow.
this product, and you'll experience joy, bliss, and happiness, I'm like, dang, does the military know about this? You know what I mean? So you can find humor in pretty much anything. You just got to be
What
observant.
about what? Yeah, gosh, it's
Yeah,
yeah, humor's just the best. I mean, I know people just have it in them naturally. It's like,
yeah,
especially like my mom when she gets with her sisters or her friends, or they just they're funny. I mean, gosh, the stuff and it's all inside. Like they wouldn't say it outside, right? They
yeah,
would. It's an inside. It's like an intimate experience with different. I don't want to use privileged groups, but it's the people that they feel comfortable to be saying those kind of jokes. And
yeah.
sometimes it's about men or snagging or whatever.
Right.
I mean, whatever. It's just. But that's really cool.
And
So
the
it.
cool thing about humor comedy, there's a saying that says a comedian can get away with saying anything because they're comedians. They can get away with saying stuff on stage that you other people can't get away saying it in the streets. They'll get
Mhm,
they'll get beat up. You know what I mean? But a
mhm.
comedian, for some reason, has the power to just say whatever he wants. So, and you were talking about this before about finding the humor in hard times. Times that when they're serious, how do you find humor? Like we went through the whole pandemic thing, and that was a spirit crushing time, man. How, but people were finding humor to get through that, and I believe
Yep.
that's okay, man, to do that. I saw some pandemic humor when we were going through it, and for me, I tried to think of okay, so this is not a good thing to be in, right? This pandemic, we're in lockdown, and I was like, this sucks, man. And I started thinking about my family. I have a wife and my kids. They've never been in lockdown, right? They don't know what it's like to be locked down. And then I turn it back on me. But me, I've been to jail a bunch of times, man. This is easy. I got this down. So you start, trying to find the humor in that way. And then hand sanitizers, right? There's all one humor bit I read was my hands are drinking more alcohol than my mouth. So
Oh
people worry.
gosh.
I know, right? And then I started thinking about that. I go, hey, yeah. I go, there's one sanitizer that I don't like. It smells exactly like Jose Cuervo tequila, you know. And when I smell that one, I go straight into a relapse, man, or it triggers
So
something. Oh, remember, I'm back in the class act and gallop, man, or whatever, And
oh God, class act. There you go. Do you write them down to remember them?
I do, but again, man, technology, right? I have my phone, so old school, right? Some come up, they carry around a notebook and a pencil. I
Oh
just use
yeah,
I use my phone, man. I have my notebook,
yeah,
I'll take it. Sometimes I find a comedy bit will come to me like 3 in the morning, man, and I got to get up and turn my phone on and write it down before I forget it. And I have done that
yeah.
where
I
a bit came to me and I went back to sleep and I woke up in the morning and I couldn't remember what it was. I was like,
I
dang,
do
that
that
was a
with
good
me. I
one.
do that with music. I do that with music, man. I
Yeah,
come up with a cool melody and like I'll
yeah,
remember that. I'll only do it like 7 times in my head, and then by the time I get to my guitar, I'm like, what was that?
yeah,
So I've been known to even just turn on quick voice, jumping out of the shower, and just
yeah.
a lot of yeah. So,
See,
anyways,
I could do
uh,
that. I could just
yeah,
use my voice now rather than trying to type it in.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
right,
It's faster.
yeah.
Like I
It's
just had a bit. I was thinking about this. This is goes along the lines of where I was talking with man, who was it? Somebody recently. We're talking about historical trauma, right? For me personally, I didn't know if I believed in that or not. I do now, but I was thinking, how can something that happened, over 100 years ago affect me in my generation? Like we
that's
talk about
good.
the long,
Yeah,
we talk about the long walk. How can that, what our people went through, go through the bloodline, however it works, and have an effect on me? And it turns out that I have been affected by that particular thing of assimilation. And it has to deal with the language. I'm not a fluent Navajo speaker. I grew up speaking English only, and
okay.
my grandparents, my dad's parents, right, my nullies, they were Navajo speakers, but they went to a Catholic boarding school, and they were told not to speak their language there. My mom was fluent Navajo; that was her first language, and English was her second language, and she experienced that assimilation. So when my parents got together, my mom spoke Navajo, my dad only spoke English. They had us kids, my sister and myself, my brother. All we heard was English. That's all we heard because my mom, none of us spoke Navajo, and even my grandma. I only had one grandparent. She spoke English to us too, grandkids. So all I heard was English, man. I know a little bit of Navajo, but so that trauma, that's how it affected me. Came through the language line, and I was like,
That's
dang, man, I'm a victim, man, and I don't like
that's a,
being a victim.
That's a nice inflection that you're putting in that, I would say for sure,
Yeah,
because I'm real lucky because my grandma didn't speak English and neither
yeah,
did any of her sisters except one sister. So when I was up on that mountain, which was all the time free babysitters,
yeah.
mom needed to work and she was single and she had a lot going on. So she would just stick me up there when there was no school. So here I
Yeah,
was up there just with all this Navajo being spoken around me, and I
that's
picked it
awesome.
up. I got real fluent when I was on that mountain. I've been away a long time. I can
Yeah.
get by, but I wouldn't claim it. But as we're talking about Navajo tradition,
Mm.
let's get your clan in Navajo, and then how would you say it in Navajo, and then translate it for us in English?
Okay, my mom's clan, being Navajo, the four clans, right? Start off with your mom. Maternal clan is Tohane, which near the water.
Mhm.
And I joke around. I sweat so much I should just get in the water. But so I'm Tohane near the water. My dad's clan Totochini, bitter water. And again, right?
Water.
Another joke is my dad. I think he thought they were talking about whiskey because he was a bad alcoholic. And he lived up to his clan name.
Bitter water,
Yeah,
right.
bitter water. So those are my two main clans. Um my Che Tabaha is my Che's clan. Um I forgot Water Edge, right? Water Edge people. And then my Nully Touchini, red running into the water. Red running into. So those are my clans. Tohane, Totochini, Tabaha, and Touchini are my four clans there.
Sounds like a full-blooded Indian there.
There it
FBI,
is,
bro.
man.
Hey,
FBI, man. And even my CIB says 4-4 Navajo. All these years, I thought CIB stood for Cool Indian Boy, but no, it stands for Certificate of Indian Blood.
it's great.
But check this out. See, but then check this out. So 4-4 Navajo, right? My mom, she's real, got a light complexion. Um, and one day she came up to me. She goes, "Hey, I don't know if you know this, but your great grandfather was an Irish trading post owner." And then she just walks off. Like, the heck?
Wow.
You telling me I'm part white, even though my CIB says 4-4 Navajo? And then they say, I don't trust her, man. She's kind of shady, my mom. I
Oh
don't know if I can believe her.
man.
But then I go on to say, but I do like Lucky Charms, you know. Notre Dame's my favorite football team. Green's my favorite color. Maybe she's telling the truth.
Boy, you wouldn't want to live with that one, would you, on the res?
I
Hey,
know,
my
man.
great great grandfather was what did she say? Irish?
Yeah, Irish, man. I don't trust it though.
Uh,
It's not on paper, so.
well, I know, Ernie. I can't see it. I mean, I don't believe it. You look like a full-blood Navajo to
But
me.
see, that makes
So,
comedy, man. That's not a cool thing, but I
yeah.
find the comedy in it.
Oh man, that's so beautiful. We
Yeah,
so need that in these times, Ernie. Thank you so much for sticking with it because
sure,
I
man.
know you've
Yeah,
been at it for a while and I don't know, do you ever feel like you're getting burned out or something like that by it?
man. You know what? I don't. Um,
Oh.
I no. I started.
Mhm.
I found my calling, man, which was performing. You know, I do comedy, do acting. I'll get back to the acting. So me and my cousin, we loved watching the Indian movies, right? Power Highway. One time for the movie Geronimo, right, with West Studi, they came to Winter Rock, the audition people, the casting people. They were auditioning, open call, and this was our big chance, man. We went down there and we signed up. We're auditioning for Geronimo, the characters in there, and this is just no training whatsoever, just two res dudes with a dream of being in the movies. We
Oh.
went down there and we auditioned, man. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. Our acting probably sucked, must have because we didn't get the call. But I remember reading for the line of what the heck, Rodney Grant got that role though, with Geronimo with the West Studi version. Gene
Oh,
Hackman was
okay.
in there, right?
Oh,
But it was
Gene.
cool though. We got the audition, so that was kind of my first real experience of acting, I guess, and trying to get into the movies, trying out. Um, you know, Somewhere along the line, man, I was studying anthropology, right? And
Hmm.
then, but the acting thing started coming back, and I was like, man, I really want to see if I could do that. So when I was in college in Tucson, I took an acting class, right? Acting 101, just to see what it was
Mm,
like. Right?
interesting.
Yeah, I was in the anthropology field, but I took this side elective, acting. I didn't last too long, man. It was a complete and utter failure. This is where I learned that I had stage fright. Because when you're in
Oh,
acting class, your job is to your exam is to act. The examination you got to do a 2 minute monologue. Besides all the other stuff that you do in acting class. But the big exam was to act in front of your fellow students. I got to that part, I couldn't do it, man. I memorized 2 minutes, from a movie or something, and it was my turn. I got up there, and man, I was too nervous. I had stage fright. My mind, man, kept my lines would just disappear, man. Be dang it.
yeah.
Let me start over. Let me start over. I tried about 3 times. I couldn't do it, and I just walked off, and I dropped that class that day, man. I was so embarrassed, and
So tell us the
yeah.
difference between improv and frozen text. Which one do you prefer?
Well,
I mean,
I guess
I guess there's not much improv. If you get in a movie, you get a script and you got to
yeah.
read it
There's
with
there,
the
there's some
commas.
improv. There can
Oh,
be
okay.
like in the moment. Like for example, I've been doing these small shows. Well, not small, but they're like I've been doing Dark Winds, right? And I have what I call a supporting role. So I'm a reoccurring character. But the scenes I have, there's maybe one or two scenes, right, for every in the episodes that I'm in. So you'll only see me like in one scene, and the lines are maybe just only like, you know, maybe I only have 3 lines. That's scripted. So I learned those. But in the moment when we're shooting, maybe something pops in there that seems right, feels right. I'll say that. I'll say the
Okay.
line plus I'll improv in the moment. And you know
Oh,
what I mean?
okay.
And
Yeah. So what you're doing too, how you're responding to the object or the thing or
yeah,
the context, eye movement, body movement, or
yeah.
hand goes up, or or whatever like
Yeah.
that.
And
Okay.
in the moment, maybe there's a line that should be in there, but it's not. I'll put it
That's
in
what
there, man. You know what I mean?
it's a trip back in the day when it was
Yeah.
silent films back in the
Yeah.
early 1900s, like 1908, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
I think they had a lot of improv, but they also didn't have sound. So it was all written what to do. Put your hand on your left brow and
Yeah.
then
That's
shake
right.
your head back. And then, whatever. I mean, the
Yeah.
stage stuff was there. It was just so different back in the silent film era. Did you ever get to study any of that stuff, like silent films,
Um,
or how we
not
transferred into talkies or anything like that?
not in depth, but when you take acting, you take a class called voice and movement.
Hmm.
You'll touch it on some of that to where you, for example, we had to do this exercise to tell a story without speaking, but just
Yeah.
your body, your movement.
Okay.
And that's pretty hard, man. You got to be really expressive. I found
What
that
about
hard
this?
being a native. It was hard for me because us Indians, man, we're not too expressive in that way. I had to learn how to be like that, and comedy made me able to be expressive in my body, my movement. It was tough, man. Um, we also had to do an exercise where we do a scene in gibberish, make up a language, and act it out.
Oh, that sounds
That
like
was,
fun.
yeah, that was fun. But for me, it was pretty nerve wracking because, again, this is when I was first trying improv in the moment stuff. I wasn't too comfortable with it, but I had to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So that's
Right.
how I came over, how I got over stage fright. I had to accept it that,
Wait,
hey
can you
man,
say that again? I think I caught something really important. Learn to be
be
comfortable.
comfortable being uncomfortable.
You know what? I really like that. That's
Yeah,
almost like an oxymoron.
it is.
Learn
Yeah,
comfortable to
it's a
be
paradox.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
true.
cool.
For
I
me,
never
I
thought
think
about that.
that very thing right there is how I built up my confidence to act, to
Or
audition,
to be,
to not
wow.
to not to not let my brain forget my lines, because when you get on set, man, it can be pretty nerve wracking. You got 20 people around you watching you with all this equipment, cameras and
Lights.
lights,
Yeah,
and
right.
man, they're counting on you to deliver your
Well,
line, and they're paying millions of dollars for you to say these lines, and
wow.
you better be on your game, man.
So
So
let me ask you something.
yeah,
Are you okay with the repetition? I mean, that's like what killed me when I got into theater. That's why
yeah,
I didn't stick with it because I couldn't handle just doing the same thing over and over. I think I got
yeah.
ADHD that's an undiagnosed. I was like, can't
Okay.
do this. Are you okay with that?
I am, because repetition is how you get comfortable. You
Oh,
know, the more you, not to like kill it, right? Kill the artistry of it, but to know your line so well that it becomes. There's a thing called um
oh,
you
okay.
know
I
what I
hadn't
mean?
thought of that.
You can tell when you watch people act in the movies, you can tell when they're acting. If you can't tell they're acting, they're good actors. But you can tell sometimes when that person is memorizing
Yes,
lines, you
yes.
know?
But here's the other
Yeah,
thing, though.
yeah,
Some actors get cast in the same kind of situation, but I've seen you as a trading post guy. I've seen you as different kind of characters, and
yeah,
sometimes you don't always get just because you're a comedian, you don't always get a funny role in a movie.
yeah.
Sometimes you get a serious role. So is that a real shift gear for you?
Not really, because I'm the thing that people don't know about me is I'm an actor before a comedian. You
Oh,
know,
so you're versatile.
yeah, I consider
Cool.
myself an actor that became a comedian, and because of the comedy, I started getting acting jobs. So it served each other.
Wait, wait.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
first and
Huh.
foremost, I'm an actor. You know,
Okay. So you
but
can be a serious, pissed off dude.
yeah,
Yeah. And then you
I
can be this
you know,
kind, sweet, loving grandpa.
yeah. So
Right on.
I've done play. My first play, really professional play, was for the Actors Theater Phoenix. It was Hopi characters. I played the grandfather, um, and it was a drama, So there's some serious content in there, emotional
What
stuff in
movie
it.
was that? Is that
it was a play.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
called Katsina. Was hoping it was based on a book called Sun Chief, and the Actors Theater Phoenix they produced it. The Actors
What
Theater
a way
Phoenix
to
has
what okay, let me this is not that important, but I'm just going to say it anyway. What did your wife say when you went, you know what? I'm going to go into this. Was she real supportive or, hey, dude, you got kids to raise. Can't do that.
yeah, she was real supportive. It was my boss that said that to me.
Oh,
I
okay.
had a I had this one boss, a white guy. I got pretty close with him, and when I told him my this is when I had this job. Um, after my failure in acting class, I went back to the res and I got a job doing archaeology, and I was there for 3 years. And all this time, it was eating at me. Like, how come I couldn't do that monologue in that class? I had a
Oh,
stage fright. I had to ponder that for 3 years, man. And when I decided, no, okay, I don't like this, man. I got to go back. I got to try it again. So I decided to drop, quit my job, get out of my major of anthropology, and go into theater and acting, all of it, all the way. So I changed my major. I went back to college. I signed up for theater, drama. My whole schedule was had to do with acting and that whole
wow.
performing arts. But when I told my boss my plan, he laughed at me, man. He was your basically he said you're a fool. He said that
Ooh,
to me. You got a wife and kids. You got a good job. You're going back to for this pipe dream of being an actor.
oh
Man,
my
he said this to me with
God.
my face, man.
And you've
Man,
been able to support your family with this. I
yeah,
know your wife probably has, I'm assuming your wife has a job.
yeah,
So
yeah,
two income. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, wow, gosh,
yeah,
dang, that's amazing. So, do your peers support each other in that field? I know we're living in this lifetime. I think there can be four generations from little
yeah,
infants to somebody like say 99 years old could still be
yeah.
in a film. Do you feel a support, or is there in its Native American actors? Is there a respect for you? Is it like kind of like a Che figure now? You're an elder, and in our Indian way, we respect that, man. You've
Yeah,
earned it. And then another way, it's like, oh man, you're old. So,
yeah.
do you feel supported still, or is it even better now?
Yeah. In the very beginning, once I got my training as an actor and I started to go look for acting jobs, it was tough, man. This was in the '90s.
Hmm.
That was when native cinema was just
Yeah.
trying to make its breakthrough. We had like Adam Beach and all these actors, Graham Greene, Gary Farmer, were kind of the it guys, you know. And I would meet these people as a young actor, as a nobody, just barely out of training. I would I would meet some of these people at events, and I try to pick their brains about acting and you have any advice for me. And most of them had no advice and had nothing. They're just like, I don't know, man, just good luck. That was it. Most
Wow.
of them I got brushed off, man. And that really kind of like made me frustrated. And I was like, dang, man, nothing, So I just kept on trucking. But the only actor that really took the time to give me some advice was Gary Farmer. And he was my acting role model because he was big guy.
Cool.
He was chubby guy, right? He's like, man, that chubby guy can make it. I can make it. And
Yeah, right on.
so I watched Gary Farmer, and and then I got to meet him in person. I did a short film, and he was one of the leads in it. It was called Two Gray Hills, and I played his friend in the movie. So I got to actually meet my acting role model, and I spent 2 weeks, hanging out around the guy and just talking, chatting. But he's the only one that really said, "Hey, man, I asked him questions about the business, and
Mm.
he actually took the time to look over my resume, which was pretty pathetic at the time. And he went through it and he said, "Hey, you don't need that. You don't need that. You should add this." He took that time, man, and did that for me. And
Damn,
it
you
was
know
like,
what?
it was
I
cool.
I wish Elena would be able to find a quick little tiny skit so we could just have a little taste of your humor tonight. Can you do it, Elena?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
man.
she
Like,
can't do it. She
so
can't do it.
there's stuff on there's stuff on YouTube. I don't know you might
Yeah,
want
I
to put that
noticed
on.
that somebody posted. Yeah, somebody posted this. So, yeah, that's
So
great.
back to the question. So in the early years for me, it was hard, man. It was I didn't really have any support. I didn't feel supported in that
Hmm.
way. But
Hmm.
now, I think now is the time. If there's a young actor out there that wants to get into acting, the movies, now is probably the best time. It seems to be almost easy as a native actor. I'm talking about. there's
Well, now
opportunities
that
out there, you know.
let's talk about the Indigenous Ways Festival next Saturday,
Yeah,
September 27th, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the
yeah.
Santa Fe Rail Yard Park. It's across from the New Mexico School for the Deaf, right off Cerrillos Road, heading into downtown Santa Fe. You'll see a big turquoise stage that says this is Indigenous Ways. That's where we're going to have the
All
outdoor
right.
festival where Ernie's going to be performing at 4 or
Yes.
5 p.m. But he's going to be with Montana Miller. Montana Miller is a up and coming actor, comedian, entrepreneur. He's in a master's program right now, and he's really got a lot of a lot of energy, and he's got that same funny bone that Ernie has in his own Navajo way. How are you going to work with him on this? Are you excited about it, or?
I'm really excited, man, because it reminds me of when I was first doing comedy, getting into the comedy circuit. Vincent Craig, he's the one guy, man, that just he was so generous with his stage. I opened up for him. That's how I got my comedy career started. It was opening up for like Vincent Craig, Drew LaCappa, around here in this region, and that they gave me that time, and I would go on to become friends with them, and mentor. They're my mentors, but also became my brothers in comedy and humor. So like that, that's how I feel with Montana. We sit down with Montana. We talked about what we want to do, and his comedy style is different from mine, and that's the way it should be. Not every comedian is going to be the same. So I'm excited to get in there and mix it up with his style and my style. He's kind of like the young gun. I'm the old stag, right? I said stag, not snag. Okay. I used to be a young buck. Now I'm an old stag.
He's been a young snag. For
Yeah.
those of you that don't know snag, it means smooching.
Well,
Um,
Montana, he's the young snag. So but we decided to take on that whole 45 minutes together, man.
oh,
Yeah,
wow,
we're gonna go
wow.
back and get.
In
We're
that
just
case,
gonna.
we might have to do a 15-minute standing ovation for, I mean, a standing ovation to ask for another 15-minute just straight
Yeah,
improv. And I imagine you're going to do a lot of improv too. I mean,
I imagine too.
I love jazz music because they do a lot of it. They make a lot of room for that
Yeah, it's right.
improv,
Oh,
and they just share that time and that
yeah.
space for it. And I didn't really have an appreciation until I started listening to Delbert Anderson and Julia Keefe, and I
Man,
went on tour with them, and we went on tour with them, and then we had to sit
yeah,
through all these jazz things. I was like, wow, look at how much time they're giving each other. So
yeah.
it's called improv, jazz improv.
That's
It's what they
right.
do. Yeah,
Dang, that's
it
cool.
was a bit of a mind blower for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
because the way I play music, it's like, there's a little 20-second interlude for you lead guitarist, do your thing, and then
yeah.
you just blend with the rest. So, anyways, let's take this time to ask you one last question before I give it to Elena
Okay,
for our quick break. What does family mean to you?
man. For me, family is everything.
Mm,
Being a family man. Again, but yes, but my wife, she's always been there from day one, even before I was a performer. I was,
mm.
in studying anthropology, and when I told her about my dream of getting into the movies, and she was always there. She never second guessed me or anything. She's always been there, and
Wow.
and my
Wow.
children, um, they inspire me too. Even my kids, all my own kids, inspire me in their own youth and freedom, and they're very smart. And that's the youth of Native America, man. They're just so awesome, man. I run into young people, and they're amazing.
Gosh.
There's a lot of people I run into now. The young people, they're how they are now is how I wish I was when I was young,
Are you
outspoken.
serious?
Yeah, man. These
So
kids,
you're
man,
right
they're
there in the mix, right there in Winter Rock. So
yeah.
you're like at the flea market, you're at
I'm
the
at
fair, you're
I'm
at
at the
the film
mothership, man.
festival.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dang, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
All
family
right.
is family for me. That's what it's all about is family. I do what I do because I support my family with it. That's how we get by our sustenance. And but also, I want to be an inspiration to them as well. You know, so
Well,
to me, the family unit is more important than any movie, any fame, any fortune. Is your
mhm.
family. Yeah.
Right on. So for our next time I invite you back for this show, I want you to focus on indigenous perspective to anthropology, and then
Oh
we'll
yeah, man.
kick it off from there. So, all right, let's give it up for Ernie. And here's Elena. I'm
Woo.
going to take a quick
Right
break
on.
here.
Thank you so much for that, Tash. And yeah, Ernie, that was just extraordinary. So what's going to happen now? We're going to go into commercial break, and then we're going to invite everyone to come in if you have questions for Ernie at all. I'd like to say a few things, but I'm being very conscious with time as well. So same time, same channel in 3 weeks. The third Wednesday of each month, we have a wonderful guest. So next month we have Mateo Romero, who is a renowned artist. So same time, same channel, same place. And then, you know, in our archives at our website, IndigenousWays.org, there are over 200 Indigenous, deaf and hard of hearing, our rainbow presenters. We kicked this off the 1st of April 2020, and it's so beautiful to have Ernie here because he was our second ever person in the realm. And I don't know if you remember, Ernie, but then on the res, it was almost like snow when you came in. But the importance of connection with the community going through that time of COVID. Yeah. So in there you'll see again this Ernie's from this time round, his archive that you can get and you can share it with your peeps. So just go to our website, zapping along the bottom, and if you're looking at this on social media, please like or subscribe to any or all of our pages. And if while you're in the website, if you're not already on our newsletter, please subscribe to that. We're very grateful to our sponsors making this possible, the City of Santa Fe Arts and Culture Department, as well as the National Endowments for the Arts. And then join us. We've had an incredible summer. In August, we had our Indigenous Ways Festival, over 1,000 people. This was in partnership with Lensic 360, enjoying the music, the food, and community connection. These are some of the photos from that. If you weren't able to make that, don't panic, because as Tash was talking about, on the 27th, which is Saturday, the last Saturday of this month, we have at the Rail Yard at the Performance Green our last Indigenous Ways Festival of the year. One of the reasons for having the beautiful Ernie Tsosie back is because he will be featured there, and also, as you heard before, doing an act with an intern that we had recently, Montana Miller. We've also got the beautiful James Woodenlegs, who's here, that'll be opening that with Oriana Lee. We've got a wonderful dance and movement artist from Aotearoa, New Zealand, Jade Wanang, who will be here doing that. We have hoop dancers in from the incredible Lightning Boy Foundation, as well as Ashley Moy, Say What, Beatbox. We've got the Mari Sato and her daughter Ishi and brother who will be there. And closing the evening, we have the beautiful Jacob Shajay, who will be there as well. We've got lots of workshops that will be happening, lots of kids activities. It's free. Go to our website, have a look at the itinerary. So that is going from 11 a.m. to 6, and so we'll look forward to seeing you there. And then lastly, we have our beautiful donation if you want to invest in Indigenous Ways. All our programs are free, open to anyone. We also have our incredible ASL interpreters, which is super important, making access available to all. And here we have the beautiful uh, Mariah Garcia, as well as the beautiful Hannah Tsosie, who you saw earlier. We've had our ASL interpreters right from the get-go. So now it's that beautiful time. If you want to come in, we've got 5 minutes before the top of the hour. If you want to say hi to the beautiful Ernie, or if you've got a question or a wonderful comment for him. One of the things that he talked about, introvert, being very shy, and this extraordinary journey that he's been on to be front and center on stage or in front of a camera. Anything is possible, and Ernie has just been saying that. So if you want to know where that camera is, just go to the bottom left-hand screen on your left-hand side and just do that. And then, Tash, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Right on. Yes. Hi. Thank you very much. And Michelle and Julia, Patrick Shijay from Zia Pueblo, Arletta Tolan from Luca Chukai. Who wants to go first? We got a little bit of time left.
Okay. I'm the same clan. I have a water clan, the same as you.
Water Edge.
Water Edge clan. I'm from the Water Edge clan.
Cool.
Hi.
All right. I have to pass it over to James Woodenlegs because James Woodenlegs is also a comedian. He's Northern Cheyenne
Hello.
from Montana.
Hello. I see you, but you're very small right now.
So James Woodenlegs will be introducing you, and he's going to be starting the stage with his own Indigenous Indian Sign Language jokes. And who knows what that's going to be, but we're excited to see James Woodenlegs jokes too, right? James Woodenlegs?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, one or two jokes he'll be introducing. Patrick, what about you? Patrick Shijay from Zia Pueblo. What's up, brother?
This is Pat's voice. Yeah, I remember actually. So I'm from Zia Pueblo. And I remember you were in that movie, Resball. I remember seeing you in that movie. You were one of the basketball players there. I remember you being an actor in that movie. It was awesome. So I work actually for the utility or maintenance department here in my tribal lands, and I remember just watching you, and I remember seeing you and another Indian brother. I believe his name was Hunter Red Horse Arthur. So I remember you and him acting side by side. It's just one memory I have. You were on that basketball team with Resball, and then the interpreter's just clarifying here. You're asking about the basketball players. Pat saying, yeah, the Resball movie. I remember being at home and watching it, and even seeing one of the mountains that's on our tribal lands.
That is so awesome. Okay, lastly, Michelle
Yeah, I
Mormo
remember
from
playing with the
Chicago.
team on that time, and we were taking care of the sheep, and that's when we found out about it, as we were taking care of the sheep.
Hello, Ernest. Good luck to you in your future endeavors. I actually have my girlfriend's father is Larry Omaha, and he started out as an actor and as a comedian, and then went into acting. So have you run into him in any of your travels?
I have, yes, I have worked with Larry about I think 3 times now. He's awesome, man. He's funny. He's told some funny stories, of his acting days, and yeah, he's a great guy, man. I really love that guy.
He's a
Yeah,
funny
and
guy.
he's a role model to me as well, as far as
Good.
comedy goes. So yeah,
Great. Good luck, Ernest.
thank you.
Okay, it's Tasha's voice here. Lolly and Bob from Shawano, Wisconsin. Thank you so much for joining us, all of you tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. we're going to have to cut it off now. Julia Myers is coming down to Santa Fe from Madison, Wisconsin to volunteer. She's coming to help us. She's bringing 2 other friends too. So we got all kinds of people coming. Everybody come and have fun in Santa Fe, New Mexico at the Rail Yard Park. Ernie Tsosie III and Montana Miller. Yeah, these 2 brothers are going to make us laugh.
So on that great note, thanks everyone
James
for coming in
too.
and being with us and blessing us. I want to give a shout out to our interpreters, each and every one of you for your time. Irene, great to see you and everyone. But let's give a massive big shout out to the one and only Ernie Tsosie!
Let's hear your new song. Let it go. Let it be. Let it go. Let's hear your new song. Let's hear your new song.